Sunshine time.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Parker Bratton interview with Enjoy the Walk podcast, guys. Happy to have you guys back and tune in for this part 2 episode where we really get into the thick of things, of the conversations that I think, and Dante as well believes that we need to start having within the game of golf. And that's, how are we bringing kids of all different nationalities into the game, and how are we making this game easier for them to pick up and start at an earlier age, and start competing at an earlier age, and start earning those scholarships. And so we get into that with Parker Bratton here, and I really think it led to a lot of really insightful information of what he sees on a daily basis working with the kids in inner city Baltimore, and the kind of things they provide at the First Tee of Baltimore that a lot of other chapters just don't provide via their demographics. So hope you guys enjoy the second part of this interview, and thanks again for listening. How can we change not only these kids' lives, but start changing the narrative, I think, of society in general, of, inner city Baltimore, and make just, I think, everything more attainable for everyone, make it all inclusive, because I think that's kind of been put on the spotlight lately, is how can we make, everything all inclusive and not so, white and black per se, as I think, it needs to be said, is, how can we start kind of blending that to make it all inclusive?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the cool thing about the First Tee is when you see our kids, it's every race. It's a lot of different socioeconomic backgrounds and parental structures, and just like, some kids live with their grandparents. Some kids have two parents, some kids have one, and just because you have one parent doesn't mean that parent isn't doing like a damn good job, right? Exactly. And so, we have a lot of different. Our program looks very diverse, and it's something that I think we're very proud of. And I think that's the point of it all, right? I think while as someone who, I certainly, if it came down to it for me, like if I can change, I definitely see in Baltimore, we have a really great opportunity, especially with where our courses are located, to really impact a lot of like Black kids' lives. And I think that's something that I get, like, it's not that I don't enjoy helping out other kids. It's like, that's kind of, especially in this climate today, it's like those kids, whether they're Black boys or Black girls, like that population is often, they're really set up in Baltimore to not have success, I think, a lot. And while I don't want to just help them, I want to help everyone. And I think that we are doing that. But, I think when it comes down to it, like we all know that changing the trajectory it's not helping someone that already has like that foundation. Mm-hmm. It's helping someone that like doesn't have a foundation at all. But you can't do that alone, and those kids need to see that, that they're just like other kids. Like, it's not that this isn't just like a program for poor Black kids. Mm-hmm. It's a program for everyone. And it's a program to give all of these kids access to not only golf, but to each other. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, they'll remember me, and they'll remember, all these people that they've always played golf with. But, when it comes down to it, like they're, and I hope it is that they all have each other, and that they, hit each other up when they're 40 years old. They like go play golf, and whether they live in different cities or not, like it's something that is really showing what, whether it's my prerogative to get more Black kids into golf. It's showing that we can hit on every single group here. And I think that that's like the important thing. And it's great because we have Indian families and we have Asian families, and we have a ton of white families and Black families. And while, it's great to have our, these kids that come from, difficult situations like at Caves Valley, like it's beautiful to see that. It's also great to see like all these different kids, at our Metro Tour events, like come up from DC and like see the diversity in their programs. And then they're all like, at places like Forest Park where, frankly, like Forest Park is somewhere that it's not, it's for Baltimore Muni, it's definitely my favorite one, I think. And it's not, it's not perfect. But it's a course that, is largely, almost everyone out, not almost everyone, but a lot of the people that are there are Black men. And while it's great that I see those guys out there as well, like I want to see all different types of people there, because it's not pushing anything along to have 4 Black guys playing together and then 4 white guys playing together. It's like it's moving the culture forward when you get those mixtures of everyone together. And I think that's where, like, you step up to the first tee, and not that, not that I think people are, I don't know. I think you always have some kind of preconceived notion. I know, like me being mixed and playing golf, like I'm sure people look at me and they're like, like I wonder maybe this guy's skills as opposed to his white friend. And I think they get like, I'm not the best golfer, but I can pound the ball, so it's great when I catch one. They're just like, oh shit, like,
well, hello there.
A little bit, or hit a 20-foot putt or whatever. It's just like, oh damn, like this dude knows what he's doing. And like, that kind of surprise. And I think that kind of those interactions where people maybe do feel uncomfortable for a little bit, it's a lot easier on a golf course than it is, say, at like one of these protests that's happening, right? And I feel like you can learn a lot from people in just like small conversations. And especially if you're like walking, back in the day, like you'd be in a cart with someone and you're just like sitting next to some total stranger for 4 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is. And it forces you to, think differently and try to, find some common ground between this person you're playing with. And I think golf's one of those games where you really learn a lot about people out there. And, if I was playing golf with someone that was racist, it wouldn't take much for me to understand that. But if I was playing golf with someone that knew nothing about me and I could tell that, but they were open to learning more, like that becomes very evident after. It might take 2 or 3 holes, but it's very evident. And I think that's something that's cool. Like, your true colors kind of show on the golf course, right? And
always.
Yep. I'm frankly, as much as I teach kids healthy habits and core values, like I've been known to toss a club or two. And while it's not something I'm always proud of, like, it's who I am, and it's something that I have to confront on a golf course. Like if I hit a bad shot and I'm not with my boys, like I'm playing with one of my kids, like you can't swear, like it's not okay. And you can't throw clubs. And I think we often, like you said, we want to make things black and white, and certainly like, you kind of, depending on who you're with, you kind of act in different ways. But, I think whether it's our kids or it's myself, like golf is that place where we can all like stare ourselves in the mirror. And it's like, do I have what it takes to make an up and down from under this tree, over this bunker, onto the screen, and make a good putt to do what I want to do? And it's like, and I think that lesson can be learned in a lot of different places in life. And it's like, I think when it comes to just, our kids, like looking out for each other. Right. And I'm still trying to wrap my like head around what it would be like to be like one of our kids, whether you're Black or you're white or Asian or whatever it is in today's society, and thinking about that stuff. But I just hope that through our program, they're able to all be in this level playing field on the course, and like get to know each other and get to understand where each other comes from, because it's not all the same. And it's important that everyone, I think, sees both sides of the equation that's going on right now. And I think, for example, like as an organization, we felt it was very important to stand by our Black families in this time where, you know, it's no secret that Baltimore is a place where like a lot of police brutality has happened, and specifically in the neighborhoods where our golf courses exist.
Mm.
And while, you know, I think we're not a political organization, we're like a human organization, and while this thing is, you know, very black and white in some senses, it's like a all humans thing right now, where we all need to get behind this one movement to make things better, for everyone. So, you know, we put out a statement, and you know, I'm sure different people felt different ways about it, but you know, it was important for us to hold, I think, the police community to the level that we would hold our kids to. And actually something that's in the works that I'm working on right now, which I'm really proud of actually, and I take no credit for it whatsoever, is that I had a member at a country club, a very exclusive country club in Baltimore, that reached out and specifically asked if we can get some of our kids and some police officers to play together at this country club, and just in general, and just like have a conversation and see where it goes. And whether that's having police show up to our programming as they can and volunteer, or setting up these kind of, you know, smaller groups where we play in a foursome with like a kid, a cop, me, and a member. Like, you know, I think that's something that, that's making a change, and like that's changing the trajectory not only of a kid's life but their outlook on life. And if they're able to be someone that can change the thought, you know, and the culture in the neighborhood of like all cops are just terrible people, which we all know isn't true. Like it's pretty clear that it's the portion of these people with this job that abuse their power. And there's a lot of good people trying to really do good work and keep communities safe. And I think, you know, to teach that at a younger age, and to change that culture in Baltimore, even if it is just the first tee and the few kids that we have, like we're doing something big, and we're doing something different. And I think, and again, this is something that it hasn't even, I haven't done it yet. It's been in the works for the past few days. But it's something that I just like, as I'm envisioning it, it's just like, if, you know, if we can make this happen, then I know 10 other nonprofits in Baltimore that have, that do boxing, that do soccer, that do squash, that do, wrestling and football and basketball and all different types of things, that they can replicate this with. And then you think about all those kids that you're hitting from all different parts of the city, and it's like, you know, you're not going to get everyone at once, but if you can get a few people to start saying like, yo, like cops aren't that bad, like there's actually some good ones, and they like work with this group of kids down here, like you can go and like watch them do this. Like,
I'm a firm believer in the ripple down effect of like kind of what you were just describing. It just starts with one. If you get one scenario to happen in which a perception is changed, then the ball starts rolling. And like you just said, then another organization picks it up, and then another. And then all of a sudden it's not just in Baltimore, it's in, you know, Minneapolis. It's in, you know, other parts of the country. It's from east to west. And all of a sudden you're not just affecting Baltimore, Maryland, you're affecting an entire country. And I think with the power of social media, and how, as much as we can see it take negative effects, we can see it take the positive effects too. And you know, spread such great change in whichever way we want it to happen. It's all up to us, I think, in how that narrative plays out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, like they say, like it's 90% of how you react to whatever, or I don't know I just totally butchered that.
Hey, we edit, we chop that out. We'll chop that out.
No, keep it in. I'm human like the rest of them. What is it? It's like 10% of the action is like 90% of the reaction is really like what happens in your body, your perception, all that stuff. And I think, you know, with everything that's going on, you know, we look to the big media to like see what's going on, and they frankly just feed us like a lot of fringe bullshit of like, you know, for example, like white people looting the Van store in Santa Monica. It's what are you showing that for? That's not what we're talking about here.
Right.
And so like if you go and look at that, then that's what you're talking about. And it's like that's detracting from the entire situation. So, I think I've certainly looked at this maybe selfishly as a really good opportunity. As you said, like I started my podcast in the mix, which is something I've like been thinking about doing for so long, and finally got my act together. And I started it kind of when COVID started, and then I really rethought about what it could be when the George Floyd thing happened, and it's something that I'm still trying to figure out internally, because while that was an event that I think really helped me process a lot of what it was like to grow up being mixed and having a Black father and a white mother, and playing sports like golf and lacrosse and going to private school and like that, like just my entire life, like it was like, whoa, like it was like when everything's like flashing through a movie and then it like stops at like the main scene, and like that was kind of the main scene. Like this is, it really felt like the beginning of, I hope that's something, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I hope that's something that's going to be kind of the beginning of the end of a lot of, racist policies and just like that old way of thinking that, frankly, like is just not what America is today. And so I think those things that have happened in the government and with police and with different ways that cities were set up and whatnot, like that way that certain people were oppressed for a long time. And I think that had a trickle down effect into a lot of things business related, and I think golf courses are one of those places, and I think I just have like an amazing opportunity, whether it's talking on my podcast or talking on your podcast, to just bring up these conversations and have like whether they're uncomfortable or not, just like be very honest about how that stuff makes me feel, and like and how we can move on, and it's not just looking, like we said, like it's not just looking at like all these extremes, like it's looking at the root of the issue. And I think the main thing is having different types of human beings with different backgrounds conversate, and whether it's on the golf course or on our podcast, like like Dante and I are like, it's like we had a very similar experience. Like, I'd never met this man in my life, but it's something that we can all like find middle ground on. And if we can't, then so be it. I think it's something that it's going to take some people a little bit more effort and more open-mindedness than others, and some people frankly aren't going to change. And I think now's a time where like that's kind of okay. Like it's all right for people that aren't willing to change to get like left in the dust by like whether it's their friends or their family, society. It's like, I'm sorry, but like you can't think that way anymore.
If I think I said it when we were just talking, it's like, if not now, when, in that mentality of,
yeah.
I think we've gotten shook to the point of everyone realizes, and I think, and this could go, I think, a lot of people may not like what I say, but I think our generation is finally starting to take the turn of realizing like there's just no room for it. And personally, at a time where I don't get it when people do bring it, that side to the table of thinking so small-minded. I just don't get it. But it like you said, it's time to leave those people in the dust, and it's time to, I think, just be good humans. Like, I don't understand how it's that hard to be good humans and just have this discussion, but there's a lot of people out there that are still like that. And like you said,
Sure.
I think we're blessed to have this game of golf, that I think maybe I think brings it all together and sees that dichotomy of, allowing because it's so much, golf is so much like life. It allows us to maybe conceptualize things a little bit better than most, I think, is
Right.
where I tie it all back in, for me at least. And I
Sure.
think, with you in the greater area of Baltimore and the First Tee and what you do, and how you describe the diversity within your own kind of organization there, and just the ability to make effects a change, a positive change, and
Yeah.
have this conversations like we do right now. And that's what needs to happen more. And I think where I'm going with this is like, it's possible. And, it's
Yeah.
happening. It's not just possible, but it is happening, and it's happening
Yeah.
now. And we need to recognize that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you're right. Like, it's our kind of generation, I think, in a lot of ways, with the environment and with, I think we've been hit the hardest, and I've been fortunate, to not have too much, but with like college debt and just a lot of these systems that are just, our parents didn't have to go through them, and now that, or at least didn't have to like think about our parents, they didn't have the internet, so like they didn't know any better, like they
Yeah.
didn't know cigarettes were bad for you, or that, like, like I don't know, like it's just that old school thought of just like, I think of like cow's milk, for example. Like I never liked drinking milk, and I was like, why do like I can only drink it in cereal? I was like, this isn't even good. And then I like learned it's like, oh yeah, like you actually don't get a lot of protein from it, and it's and no other animal drinks cow's milk after, ever.
I
And I was
about
just like,
cried
what are
when
we
I had that
doing?
realization, because
Like
like
what
it
are
was like it was like a glass of milk at dinner with me
yeah,
every day when I was growing up,
yeah.
and then it was like, what? Like what? Like
Yeah,
I had my
and
mind
look,
blown at that
I'm
conversation.
not like some vegan, like I'm not trying to convert anyone. Like I eat meat, but it was just that one thing that I was just like, all right, the only reason why we do this is because we've always done this, not because it's the best solution,
Yep.
not because it's healthiest or like better for anyone. It's just because of what we've done. Um, and while that's a totally different thing, like you can still drink cow's milk, I'm cool with you.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
I mean,
if you're not willing to, if you're not willing at this point to at least recognize the reality of what happened, and if you don't, at least like have a conversation, read a book, listen to a podcast, like shit, watch a movie, documentary. Like there's so many ways to absorb information and understand what's going on, and really change. And I think the, I don't want to say like it's either now or never. Like if you don't figure it out this second, like F off. Like there's a lot of room for people to, I think it's going to take people some time to be like, oh damn, like I need to change my way of thinking. And I think, Drew Brees was a great example of an athlete, that someone that I had always viewed in a very high light, as someone that was an athlete and a competitor. Hearing about the way he trains and how serious he takes his craft, it was someone that's like, oh, like that's someone I look up to. And then you bring in the fact that he went to New Orleans and did all that stuff for the city. It's like, oh, great guy. And then to have him come out on CNN and just kind of talk out of pocket about just not really understand, even years later, like what Kaepernick was trying to do. It's like, dude, like, did no one brief you on this situation? It's just like he just didn't know. And
Yeah.
he didn't have to be confronted because he's an NFL quarterback and no one confronts him on anything. And so for him, it was like, all right, Drew, like, well, for me, I would say it was like, Drew, you screwed up. And I'm not happy about it. But for him to come out and acknowledge the wrongs, and like, I'm sure, I would hope that he's someone that will actually go and make that effort to understand. And then I think something that really kind of caught me was Cole Beasley, who I think a year or two ago I had heard he had said something racist. So I was like, fantasy, no Cole Beasley. I'm out on this guy. I won't even draft you. Like, I won't even pick you up on the waiver wire with no for a late
not even the
flex in,
waiver wire.
week 12. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm out on you. And then he came out and said something recently and was like I screwed up and I want to make this right, and I'm going to do what it takes to make this right. So while my mindset is very much like, we either need to change this or you either need to change your thinking or I'm out on you. 2020 cancel culture. I'm also down with people figuring it out, right? Like reading the book, listening to the podcast, and not just being like, oh yeah, I'm cool with black people now. It's like, no, like if you're not, like, you need to understand what makes you not cool with them. Or
Whoa.
What?
It doesn't matter whether you you have an issue with any type of person, whether they're gay or Asian or Muslim or Jewish. Now is just the time where we're, I hope, forcing each other to have a difficult conversation and look yourself in the eye and say, whether it's you or your environment, I think is mostly the thing, right? Like, no one was born racist.
Mm-hmm.
No one was born like hating people. We were all just born different, and we were taught how to interact with people differently. And I think it's such a personal attack because, you're coming at someone's character, but you're also coming at like their family a lot of the time too. And it's certainly hard to change people's habits in general. And when it comes to something like race or even like sexism, which is like so divisive in a lot of different ways, it's hard to have that conversation. But now is just the time where I think it's, and I don't know what the movement will be called. Certainly Black Lives Matter, obviously, but I think more of the movement of people just having conversations with people they don't know and learning about their backgrounds and their experiences, and not trying to compare them, and not trying to say, well, there's poor white people, or there's the cops get murdered too. It's like, yes, like we know this, but the issue at hand right now is whether you're rich and black or poor and black, like there's a chance that you could get murdered by the police and nothing will be done. And like, we just need to address that. And there's a lot of other issues that I think people should really feel free. Like that's my thing. It's like, we don't just have to talk, like, while I think that's the number one issue, there's the whole, I think even still more than ever, and I think it's something that a lot of people grow out of, but homophobia. Like, I still coach high schoolers, and they'll say things that that are homophobic that they just frankly like don't mean, right? And it's like, they're not trying to, they don't understand what they're saying, and I don't think they understand the implications of what they're saying. If there was someone that was like gay around them. And I think when you get older, you're like, oh shit, like I actually have a bunch of gay friends. Like, what the hell was I even talking about in the first place? Like,
right.
How would I use those? Why would I say those things? Like, that's not what I mean. And so I think, a lot of people, they're just like unlearning some habits.
And it's so I don't want to call it funny because they're very serious topics, but the way,
sure. No, there's some comedy in like the ridiculousness of the way some people think.
Precisely. So and that's what I'm getting at is like the comedy is in not being able to, and I think it's people's inability, and I think it's human nature a little bit too, to conceptualize that we can have all the conversations. We can have yes, this is a problem, and this is a problem, and these are all issues. Like, we don't need to have mine's greater than yours debate. Like, okay, we can have we're all like, let's fight for all of it. Let's band together, and that's where I think the issue is, as a society as a whole, is let's stop comparing apples to oranges. Let's stop comparing, my house is bigger than your house, and therefore it has more issues. Like, that's not the problem.
That's far from the issue at hand. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's realize that, yes, this is the issue at the top of the list at the moment because it's the one that's the
Right.
most forefront. But there can
Yeah.
be further issues underneath of it. And I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
just going back to
Yeah.
what you kind of probably see more often than not with the first tee is the beautiful, I think, innocence of kids and their lack of a better term, their inability to see the grand scale of things because they're
Totally.
5, 6, 7 years old. And like you said, it's those issues that are taught rather than and learned rather than like in us innately. And I think, what you
Yeah.
guys have the ability to do, which is so phenomenal. And it's in the caddy program. It's in the first tee program. It's to just bring these kids together and give them those values that makes them just be great human beings. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
I mean, how many people you hear say, it's about 100% say, man, I wish I could be a kid again. Just so you can
Right.
have that pure innocence, just
Totally.
pure joy. You don't care about a damn thing. You're just out there with friends. Doesn't matter race or anything. You're just
Right.
out playing, I mean, remember the time you were in grade school? None of these things crossed your mind. You were just out there playing with friends. How many people say, man, I can't wait to get older. I can't wait to deal with problems.
Yeah, right.
Zero. Like
Right.
we all want to be kids. And I think we need to have that mentality. It's like we need to just go out there with pure joy in everybody. And like it's just everybody wants to be kids. Let's all be kids.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, and I think that's something where, especially when you play sports, right? Like, when you're playing sports, like you could care less who is what race. It's like that kid gets the ball in the goal. Like, let's give it to him.
Is he filthy?
And
he should probably have it in his hands a little more often.
yeah, definitely. Like, let's give him some opportunities for sure.
Yep.
And I think unfortunately that we get away from, like you said, like we get away from that as adults. Giving people, like putting people in positions to succeed, no matter like where they come from. And I think that's really like a beauty of what I do, and what the first tee does, is we look at kids and is this kid good at golf, or like are they really into this caddying thing? All right, well, let's get them a 4-year scholarship to a college. Like, that's a pretty easy way to make a huge impact on someone's life. Or is this kid taking golf serious? Like, let's put our necks out there, like get them into an AJGA event, and see what happens. And I think it's cool because we have such a good mix where we have some kids where we can really help them like day to day, and then we have other kids where golf was really the thing that we needed to help them with. And so while they're still around and they're still a part of the program, it's like I don't need to worry about this kid because he's got this support system. He goes to a good school, but if he needs anything golf related and or anything that he needs, like I'm here for him. But I know that I don't need to check in on him every single day like some of our other kids. So it's dope, man. The first tee, it's one of those things. It's like what you make of it. I could certainly just like do my job and kind of come into the office every day and work from not 9 to 5, but work that schedule that I work and just kind of like call quits. Or I can like set up these things with like police officers and kids playing together, or work with other nonprofits on a Tuesday in some middle school cafeteria, and just like create all of this like kind of from the ground up, or certainly build off of what we've done in the past and kind of tinker a little bit. And I hope that the first tee of Baltimore is turns into something that while we might not be as big of a chapter in terms of numbers as, say, like Fort Worth, Texas, which is a very strong first tee chapter and has an amazing network of coaches and all this stuff. Like, we're doing what we do in Baltimore, and we certainly cater to a lot of different kids, and we provide a lot of them different services. And I think for me, like if it was just golf, if this was me just working, like doing youth golf camps and just coaching, it wouldn't be enough for me. I wouldn't, as much as I enjoy that as well, like I wouldn't want to just keep it to that. And I think our kids and our families are really starting to realize that, at first they were like kind of like feeling me out and like, it's like, who is this guy? Like we've known the same staff for like 10 years. And now they're like, hey, like we wanted to sign up for this SAT thing. Like, is that a part of the, I was like, yep, like pay for your SAT score, like pay for whatever you need, like SAT tutoring, pay for the test itself, like all that stuff. Like that's what we're moving to do. Like if you need it, like we got you. And that's any kid that walks through our doors. And while I don't want to advertise the first tee as something you come to as a junior in high school and like, hey, can you pay for my SAT? Like that, it's not that either. But it's, again, it's using golf to change people's lives and to bring people together. And I think, it's something I'm very proud of to do every day. And really to get paid to do that is, it's really a luxury. And, you talk about like you guys being affected by COVID and all that stuff. Like it was weird. Like I was weirdly in like a really good financial situation, like right when COVID happened. I was like, whoa, like this is weird. Like so many people are not in this position. So like I've been extremely blessed these past few months in particular, while I've been, certainly a little antsy and bored at times. I also like was able to go, and I actually went to Pinehurst for like 4 days, which was just next level.
You dog, jealous.
Which was, yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And it's like, but like that was, that was like one of the luxuries and that I have with my job. And my boss was like, word, like I would come with you, but I have a child. so it's cool, man. Like it's a really good organization. I'm able to to live a really great lifestyle and also impact our kids and our families in a way that honestly I didn't really foresee like possible. And I think having the freedom that I have and the support for my team and my organization and some of the board members that I kind of work with like one-on-one, it's as good as you can get for working at a nonprofit. Because I mean it's always there's always like not to call it a dumpster fire, I think that's not being too kind, but they're always, it looks like one thing on the outside and it's a little bit crazier on the inside. And we're certainly that. I think every single nonprofit, whether it's a nationally funded AmeriCorps program that has like millions of dollars funneled into it, like they all operate and have like tons of issues there too. But for us to be as small as we are and make the impact that we're making, it's something that I'm really proud of. And I think something that has really helped me mature in my career and in kind of not only just being a part of a nonprofit, but starting up programs within the nonprofit and creating partnerships and hiring, hiring people, whether it's coaches or tutors and, managing volunteers. It's, it's something that, I really just love and enjoy. And, I think anytime, you're bringing people together, anytime that I bring people together, whether it's like having people over for a barbecue or like, getting, you kind of hang out with the same people a lot, whatever, but then there's certain times where you're like, let me just get like these 4 people together that maybe like don't know each other that well and just see what happens. And like, you end up having a bunch of dope conversations. And it's like, that's like kind of the life I want to live. And whether it's my job, whether it's, chatting with you guys or like doing my own thing, like I just want it to be very authentic. And I think, one of the cool things, and like I said before, like I've been very optimistic through a lot of this like tragedy and stuff, and really kind of this uprising. I've been very optimistic, um, both on a national level, but also personally. And I think that a lot of it's because I've been able to like feel like my identity, whatever that is like valid. And I think working in golf and being someone that's like changing this sport, while this like country is going through change and having a lot of like race and all this like class stuff like overlap, it just feels like I'm in like the middle of it all right now. And I think it's cool. I'll be the first to say that I get a lot of, I just get a lot of inspiration, like from guys like you, and guys like you guys know Matt Roberts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys like that, and then even guys like the Barstool guys, where it's just like they're just doing something that's different and doing something that's like true to them. And whether you take Barstool for example, like whether you think they're like four rambling idiots, which at times I kind of do, but other times I'm like doubled over, like cracking up and like completely like feeling exactly what they're saying. And that's kind of like the beauty in a sport like golf, where it's attracting and really it's changing, and it's attracting a lot of different people. And it's really dope to see that there's so many of these like sub um, communities within this game that was so singular at a time, where everyone kind of just rocked the same shit, and everyone just kind of, I don't know, it was just all the same. And now there's just like, you can look at 5 different like golf, even like Instagram accounts, and they're talking about things that are completely unrelated. Whether it's like you look at some of the guys that take the pictures of the courses, or guys that are more into like at home drills and like swing tips and all this stuff. And then people that are moving the culture to look a little more urban, as they might say. Changing things a little bit, and doing you look at like Muni kids, for example, like they're playing like urban golf, and like just they're doing shit that no one's done before, and it's just dope. It's really cool to see people get behind that, and all of their followings, and I'm sure you're following, and even like the foreplay guys, like they just have people that are it's very non-traditional.
Yeah,
Which,
it's so cool,
yeah.
and I think we really saw it exposed when golf was kind of the first thing to open in a lot of states when COVID was kind of at its peak. I've time and time again got text messages from buddies. Hey, how do I go pick up a cheap set of clubs? I've never played before, but I want to get out of the house.
The only thing I can do,
Yeah,
sure.
and like we talked about that on the course today with the guys. Rocco and Hoffy up in Philly. They were saying the same thing from like their local munis in Philly. They were seeing time and time again guys and girls that had never played before coming and saying, "Hey, can we rent a set of clubs? I just want to try this game." So I think it's starting to reach, whether it's a different demographic or it's definitely our age group. I think it's like the 20 somethings to 30 somethings are just reaching out of their comfort zone and trying golf. It's cool to see. I think there's such untapped potential in this game still for people to really join in and have fun. Whether there's no hiding. Golf has had a class issue, I think you could say, for a long time, and I think we're finally starting to see that mold break.
Yeah, definitely. I think now thinking about like us being like lacrosse guys, Dante, and like there's like you see these baseball guys, hockey guys. You've seen like this major push over the last like 20-30 years with competitive sports, and there's a lot of people that now while everyone has been like, oh, the NHL or the NBA or this or that, there's a lot of guys that kind of fall short from that, and they need to get that competitive juice flowing somehow. And golf has been that one thing that's just like it's really that it's like this it's like this mythical game, right? Like, how could you possibly, if you've never seen it before, how could you possibly hit this ball like all the way down there with sand and water and rough and like in the rain and in the wind? Like, how do you know where it's going? For the pros, obviously they're on a different planet, so we watch them and we're like, oh, he missed, like, shut up. We know what he did. He's gonna get up and down, it'll be fine. But it's really about what can you do? And we all look at each other, and we all look at, we all look ourselves in the face, and we're just like what? Like, am I made? Like, can I do this thing? And it's funny because, you just have guys that like played their entire life, and it's like, it's almost not fun. Like my boss, for example, he's like, he played in college and was a really good amateur golfer. And now it's like, he never plays. He never wants to play. And when he does go and play, he's like 1 under. Just like, what the like, that's like, you're killing me. Like, you're killing me right now. But for me, like, it doesn't matter about him, right? It's all about me. And for me, it's like, I go out there and it's just like, I just like want to grind, and I want to do this thing that is so, just like the mystique behind it, I think is like, it's a lot different than what it used to be, where people were, I think, less inclined to like be like dramatic on the golf course, or like show a lot of emotion, and just like build these groups, like, not, as opposed, like, where there's like country clubs, and I'm all for the country club thing. It's something that I've been trying to figure out myself down here, like where to join type of thing. But I think when you have like just groups of buddies that are just like, you just meet them in random places. Like, one of my best golf buddies right now, like, I met him through his friend who ended up moving to Portland. And then when he moved to Portland, like, me and Max just started playing golf like all the time. And that's someone that I have some of my tightest like golf matches with. And we love playing like with and against each other. And we couldn't be like more different people, but when we're on the course, like, we're just best friends.
It's that beautiful unwritten bond, man. I think we mentioned it like really early on, but it's like, it's the crazy thing about golf, that even if you book a tee time as a single and go and get matched up with 3 people you've never met before, like you said, it might take 2 or 3 holes, maybe even a little longer. But I feel like it's that time where it's that time when like each person in your group on one hole hits a bad shot. And you're like, yeah, like, I've been there. Like, I know what you're going through. You're struggling. Like, damn this game, Like, yeah, I get you, and I'm with you, and we're going to get through this together. And then it becomes, like, it happens. And then all of a sudden, it just, I don't know what it is about the golf game, man, but you start learning more about a person. You start learning, how they are, how they react, and it becomes fun. And you end up 9 times out of 10, I feel like, grabbing someone's number. If you play with strangers after the round and saying, hey, let's get back together, let's play again. It's one of those kind of deals that a lot of other sports you just don't see, I feel like.
I mean, I have a friend of mine too, actually, Dalton and I, his former teammate and the guy I grew up, basically went through college together with, and invited me up one weekend, and we went out and played with his neighbor. Shout out to you, Mikey.
What's up, Mikey?
Yeah. Well, he just had a newborn, so congratulations.
Hey, Mike.
So he, we played. I went up for maybe 3 days, maybe 2 days, just for the weekend. Play with them. It was my friend Paul and his brother Stan and their neighbor Mike. And next thing you know, we messaged almost every single day on on like Facebook Messenger, like we're just texting each other, just talking golf constantly, because we're both huge gearheads. I mean, we're talking shafts, we're talking heads, we're talking piecing them together, you name it, different types of golf balls. And it just goes to show what you said, Parker, is like, if we want to like even like we want to make change in like the world, I think our generation is we're the middle ground. We're like right in the middle.
Yeah.
We need to throw out the old. We need to throw out the old and get in with the new. And it's like you said, put four strangers on a golf course for 4 or 5 hours, and
Totally.
like you said, Dalton, they're probably coming. One of them's exchanging numbers with another person at the end of the day. And like you said, there's always, even on the course, there's always that one kind of aha moment where that energy between the four of them just lighten up, and then like next thing you know, you're really shooting the shit. Like you said, it may take a couple holes to kind of get things a little bit going, but there's always that light bulb or that aha moment where everything just clicks and you can just feel the energy just rise.
Yeah. No, dude, it's so on point. It's I think and you guys saying like golf being a metaphor for life, like it really is, and if there's, if we're able to go out on a golf course and build that bond with four people we don't know, like we should be able to do the same thing like off of the course too. And I think it really provides a cool opportunity for us to do that. I think this I don't know if it's a thing, but like Zoom culture, I'm just gonna go and start Zoom culture. Like Zoom culture has been one of those things where I've realized its effectiveness and maybe its ineffectiveness as well. Actually, it's funny, on my laptop I have this screenshot. It's like the first Zoom call me and my boys from Rhode Island. So I grew up in Rhode Island. I was born in Baltimore, grew up in Rhode Island, and moved back in high school. And my boys in Rhode Island, there's like 12 of them. I think only like 1 or 2 of them play golf, but it's besides the point. We all got on this Zoom chat, and there's all 12, like 13 of us, and it's like people talking over each other. It's like a party, right? Like it's absolute chaos. You're listening to conversations, but like you're really just drunk and talking craziness. And then there would be time, over the course of a few weeks, like less people would join, and it would be like 3 people or 4 people. But what you realize is that like when you have that setting, and we talk for like 2 or 3 hours or whatever, and it's like when you're, I think golf, it's like it's set up socially, so it's like you're with 3 or 4 people, you're with each other for 4 hours. If you're driving a car, you're with one of them for a lot of the time. But if you're all walking, you're kind of like intermittently like together with maybe like each person for an hour separate, or like 40 minutes separate. And then like when you're on the green, which is like a third of the time, like an hour and a half, you're all like sitting there just like chatting and on the tee box. So it's already set up for there to be a lot of different intimate one-on-one, like 3-way conversations. And I think with the Zoom culture, it's like when you get into these rooms, with these chat rooms with like 4 people, you just never know where it's going to go. And like, even when it's like my boys that I've known for 20 years, like we end up talking about just like all types of stuff. And just, so like one of them lives in Australia, and one lives in Amsterdam, and one lives in New York, or a bunch live in New York and Boston and all these different places. So it's like, yo, like, Parker, what are you up to in Baltimore? Like, what's going on? And it's just dope. Like, it's really cool to see that thing that we've always had as golfers, like then kind of like occur in these other spaces, and really, I think, allow people to have that experience of just building relationships. And I think, you're talking about just like meeting someone, and then like Facebook messaging that, like just the most obscure interactions with people that like relate to golf, and like talking like a bunch of like technical stuff. And then I love all these like memes out there and like videos online where it's like girls at a party, and they're all just like on their phone, and then like all the guys are just like talking about golf swing like stuff. Like you can just, it's like it's bad. It's like almost like we're like we have this addiction, but it's like a great thing, right? Like it's this thing that we're addicted to it because you're in nature, you're with your boys, like you're having a good time. Like it's more than just actually play. Like you don't expect to play great every day, but you expect every time, hopefully, that you go out there, you're going to meet someone randomly, maybe get their number. You're going to go out with your boys. You're going to have this epic time, or just have a great conversation.
And I think why we crave it so much is like golf, like you said,
where you're out in nature, you're with your boys, you know, you're a healthy competition. It fulfills so many of like, just like human kind of like desires all in one, you know, it's that kind of like,
Sure.
I mean, as
Yes.
weirdly put as that may sound, like it
No,
does.
yeah,
You know, you're out in nature, you're experiencing the outdoors, you're getting your vitamin D, you're with your buddies, probably having a
yeah,
few cocktails, which you know we all like
yeah.
to indulge from time to time, and then you're getting your exercise too. Even if you're riding, you're still getting a little bit of exercise, and it's just.
Yeah.
I
You're
think
getting
that's why the
endorphins
body
going.
loves, you know, the body and the mind always work together, and I think that's why we're so addicted to the game. It doesn't take much to want to do it again and again.
No, definitely not. And then once you get to that level where it's like, all right, like, so for me, like, I'm probably, my handicap says my index says I'm like a 6 point something, but maybe I'm that. I don't know. I feel like I'm not as good. But last year it was like I was shooting like high to mid 80s like every single time I played golf, and it was like rarely break 70. And then this year it's like, it's, you know, 80, like 2-3 is like pretty typical, and then like I'll dip down into the 70s every now and again. And like once you really start to, you know, hone in your game and like know what you need to do better, you know, when you go from being like a 15 to a 10 to like a 9, 8, 7, you know, you really start to, it's like, all right, like now I gotta like get my putting to like I know my putting stroke sucks. Like the next time I go and practice, like I'm not hitting 100 drivers off the range.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I do that, but you know, like people go out there and they're just like, yeah, I just want to like hit driver. It's like, all right, but like you're trying to get better or what? And like, and now that you're out, you know, you get to like those, I mean, you guys are far better golfers than I will probably ever be. It's like always knowing that it's inside of you. It's in, like, I know I can do it physically. I've done a lot of different things. Like I can play basketball. Like I can do all these different things. Not very well, but now it's like I just want to play golf well. that is all I want.
Yeah,
I want to show my
it's
boys.
crazy how
Yeah.
it just gets to become like, especially I think you've realized that once you get into that like single digit kind of handicap where you're like, oh, well, I'm real close to even par now. Like I'm real close. I got to get there. Like I just have to get there, whether, you know, it's come hell or high water. And that's what's so addicting about it. And it's cool that like, even the people that are just starting out, they hit one good flush shot and they watch that ball just soar into the air like a perfect ball flight. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. They want to come back for more. You know, they just want to come back
Always
for
on
more.
the 18th hole, second shot into the green. After you're doubling and tripling everything.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I mean, Park, you and I are probably like pretty much the same, because like, you know, you left the cross and you started picking up golf, and then like I don't know how, like when I started playing and like learning the score, I was shooting, you know, 95s to like 99s, and the next thing I know, I'm getting to like 90 to 92, and the next moment I break 90, I shot an 89. I was stoked. Got the 80, and it just, I'm like, I mean, I was like, all right, I need this putt, and I'm like, dude, I shot 88. I'm so pumped, right? And then like next thing you know, it's getting lower and lower and lower, and then it's like, all right, well now I'm shooting 80 to 82, and it's like, whoa, can I do it? Then you shoot 79 for the first time, and you're just pumped.
Yeah.
And you go out and shoot 89, you want to just flat out quit. But
throw the bag in the water.
That's been pretty damn close. But what's so crazy about the game is, all right, so now you're sitting in between that 5 and 6 handicap. So you're shooting, you know, mid-7, like high 70s to low 80s kind of on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So where you have that 185, 86 to maybe almost shooting bogey off, shooting a 90, you're like, I can't wait to come out tomorrow to make sure I do not do that ever again.
Yes, absolutely.
Then you go out and shoot, say 76, and you're like, I can't wait to go out tomorrow and do that again. Yeah, it's just it's just this endless cycle of just wanting more.
Unbelievable. And to think, like, it's so funny, like, to think so that actually happened to me. Like I shot maybe my worst round of the year. Like a few weeks ago or early last week, and then I went out on Wednesday. I was playing with my boy. I was like ready to whoop his ass, and I went out there and I was just lights out. I was even on the front, just playing like very steady golf, and still, I mean, it was crazy. I blew up on the back, and I still ended up shooting a 76, which is, I think, the best I've shot. It's either no, I've shot a 75 before. Actually at Bear Trap Dunes.
Oh, what a great place.
Yeah, I went out there and just lit it up. It was like a little wet actually, and just like I don't know what it is. It's a little misty in the air. You don't.
Park's
you don't
having a
wanna
good day.
I'm ready to. I'm like, I can sense when other people are like, "Oh no, like is this gonna get worse?" And I'm just like, "I hope so." Wet.
Let it rain.
Because I smell blood right now. But yeah, so like I've shot a 75 and then I think 276, but I shot a 76 last week, and this is with like bogey, double bogey with birdies bookending. So it was like I'm right there, like 74, 73 is like it's in reach. But then you just, like you said, you have this completely unrealistic expectation that like you're going to go back to that same course and just shoot again, like the best score you've ever shot. Like, yeah, maybe if you really dial it in and focus, but you're not focused. And it's cool. Like it gives me like, it really makes me like, obviously the pros are unbelievable and the conditions they play in are unrealistic and the lengths they play in are just unfathomable. But to see those guys go out and like, they might shoot like a 74 the first day and they're just like, they must be demoralized. Like they're probably just like, Jesus, like what am I, like a 5 handicap out here?
Why do I come out here with these guys again? Like I'm trash.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, like that person is like Xander Schauffele, and then he goes up the next day and shoots like a 63, and then they follow it up with like 2 more good rounds. Just like the mental, like as like I was saying, like we all have it in us athletically, but to have like that mental fortitude is just like it's something that I think that's why the game is so attractive, is because you play one course one day, it's a completely different course the next day, and like you can't just say, oh well, yesterday it's like, no, like yesterday's over, bro.
That's the worst. Well, I did this yesterday.
How well you hit this tee shot yesterday. Today is today, and you have to deal with what you're doing today.
The amount of times I've played in like a 2-day tournament, and I step up to like a tee box, and I'm like, well, just do the same thing you did yesterday. This is easy, and nothing ever goes anywhere close to the way it did the day before. It's kind of mind blowing, in all honesty, that like 2 different rounds on the same course from the same tee boxes can go so like catastrophically different.
Diabolically different. My God, it's actually incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's like, when it comes down to it, like that's almost like the next part of my game. It's crazy to say, like, because I have a good swing, I have a good foundation for a swing, but there's some things that I don't do very well. But I feel like where my game's at right now, the next step is for me to go out and block out yesterday, block out my last round, not worry about the next hole because I'm scared I'm going to like hit it into the water on whatever it is. Just hitting this shot as best I can.
Absolutely.
And eliminating the bad miss, right? Like that's really like what it comes down to. And
if that were so easy, so many people talk about it, and it's like, yeah, just eliminate the bad miss, and you'll play good golf. It was like, all right, if I could bottle up that like mantra and actually do it more times than not, it would be such an easy game. But then I don't think the game would be as attractive if it were that easy to bottle that up,
Sure. I mean, you gotta let that tiger loose every once in a while. Like, gotta pull the driver every once in a while when you shouldn't, and because that's why we ultimately go out there, right?
It's the risk reward, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
No,
well, hey,
I absolutely.
I won't want to keep you up too late. I know we've been going for a little while, and I've absolutely enjoyed every bit of it. So I want to thank you again for taking the time out this evening, man.
Yeah,
I read on
absolutely.
your guys' site for the firstteebaltimore.org. You guys are actually starting up here at the end of June again with some scheduling, I believe, if that's correct. What are
Yeah,
you guys
we
looking to do as far as where can people sign up for some up and coming events with the First Tee of Baltimore?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So if you're looking to register your kids, it's just First Tee Baltimore. If you Google First Tee Baltimore, summer registration's open. We've, like I said, we kind of opened up our facilities the past few weeks, just kind of getting kids back in the routine of coming out. And then we're going to start our official programming the second week of July after the 4th and kind of go through the end of August and then just kind of go from there. Unfortunately, we had our spring canceled, but we'll have that going. We have our Metro Tour going. We have caddy program. So we'll be in the full swing, and I'll be a pretty busy man over the next few weeks. Upcoming months. And we'll kind of feel out the fall. While we kind of got knocked off track. And I think you said this earlier, like now is actually before we went on, like now is the time, where I think our program is going to take off. Like parents are not going to want their kids on wrestling mats, in pools, playing sports that involve, people touching each other and stuff. And I think golf is hopefully going to make a big renaissance in these next few years, both with some of this COVID stuff and hopefully, bringing people together. And this is just another like awesome example of why I love my job and I love golf. And I appreciate you guys having me on. It's really been a pleasure, and I hope to be back. And maybe before that, we'll have to get out there and play a little bit.
Yeah, man. I know, like you said, you're going to be a busy man here the coming few weeks as things take a full swing in the positive direction for you guys, and you guys will have kids in the full swing of things for the summer, and just excited to see that happen for you guys, and excited to follow along. And see how that goes. But we definitely need to get out in the course and get some golf of our own in, whether it's a trip into Baltimore for us. That's only about an hour from me. So it's definitely not too bad to swing up. And I haven't played any of those munis in Baltimore. So I think that might need to happen.
Yeah. Maybe hit a muni and then maybe hit something else outside, maybe in the county or something. We have some really good courses in the county as well. There's Bully Rock, which is just 45 minutes outside Baltimore. That's a Pete Dye. I'm sure the Frederick area pretty well. Also, but yeah, I'm always down to make a little drive, and like I said, I got a flexible schedule, so we can.
I do have a fan favorite. Clustered Spires is just an absolute treat for me anytime. I played a few tournaments there, and I need to get back, so put it on the list.
Underrated.
Love it.
I'll go out and say it. Underrated.
Cool, man. Well, Parker, thank you so much again, man.
Pleasure.
Yes, absolutely. And guys, please go check out the firstteebaltimore.org. They're doing some phenomenal things there, whether it's the caddy program, the youth programs they got going on, just everything you guys have going on up there. It's been fun to kind of, I wouldn't say watch Bud because it's already been, in place before you took over, but it's exciting to see the aspirations that you have and are already putting in place because it's obviously working. And I'm excited to see what's in store for you guys in the future. So guys, go check them out. First Tee Baltimore, and that's Parker Bratton, guys. So thank you so much. And as always, guys, get out there, carry your clubs, and enjoy the walk. All right, guys, as you heard, that was the wrap up of our part 2 to the interview with Parker. And, guys, I think it just it goes to show how much we can change in this world through just the game of golf and a little white ball. It was really, really a great time to talk with him and just kind of hear his perspective on what he's, kind of seeing with working with the entire city of Baltimore. Baltimore kind of is just always that city that's known for, especially, with these times we're going through right now, higher racial tensions than most. cities in America. So just was really, really, blessed to be able to sit down and talk with him. But moving forward, we've got our own golf stuff to talk about, Dante. We've had a lot going on behind the scenes. You and your club championship. I took a trip up to Atlantic City Country Club to play a little practice round for the Barstow Classic. I played with the Barstow Classic guys, Rocco and Hoffy, so shout out to those guys on a beautiful day out there, and we'll get into that, I'm sure. And we've also got, we've kind of peeped it on our Instagram, but we've got those Tyler's golf bags coming in. We're going to have one for auction, guys, so be on the lookout for that. Sometime towards the end of next week, we'll have them in hand. We'll do a full review, and then we'll get them out in the course. So much to talk about, Dante. I'm pumped, man. Your club championship, man. Take us through the dirty. Take us through the start to finish out there at Running Deer.
It was 2 hot, grueling days. I mean, it sucks. What's the worst? Obviously, shout out to AFil. Listen, you would have been frustrated playing in this. It was 85 to 90 degrees, 100% humidity. I mean, it was so steamy, dude. I was so frustrated, but I powered through it. I just kept buying bottles of water and just pouring them on my head. Walked because I wanted to focus, but it was fun. I thought I played a lot better than the way I scored, but it was a grind. I'll tell you what, when Sunday afternoon came, I came home, showered up, I pretty much went right to bed.
Yeah, that heat takes it out of you, dude, no matter what kind of event you're doing, but especially walking 100% of your rounds, which was it was a 36-hole event, right? 2 18 holes?
Yeah, 2 days.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, 18 and 18. And the way they did it, so they had the women's division, and then Saturday they started the early times from champ all the way down to D, and then Sunday they flipped it, and then the championship flight came in because champion of the course is going to walk off 18 hoping to win, right? They win a parking spot with their name on it, so that's kind of cool, right? Front and center, so you're always playing for that spot. But it was a grind, it was crazy. It was the first day. I was coming off playing. So actually, I played 36 Friday. I played Wednesday. Let's go back to that week. I played that weekend. I played that Monday. Took off Tuesday. Played that Wednesday. Was supposed to play in a game Thursday, but it rained and we called it quits. I mean, it was so much rain that they actually closed the course. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it up. So I played with my dad in the morning, and then our blue group, our better guys player, they play a Friday game from the tips. They call it Black Friday, the Black Tees. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to play with them as well. So I was there from probably about 8:30 to about 8:30 at night, roughly. It was a long day, but it was a lot of fun. And I actually, I was telling you, I've been struggling with my game so much that I think I've been playing too much golf.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, screw it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and have some fun and just forget about everything. And dude, I kind of felt like I turned my game around. And here's the thing, and I'll get into why it's so frustrating. So normally at any other club with members, they have a club championship. The champion flight plays all the way back. The A flight usually plays the blues, which is his next tee set in front of the tips. Blue, whatever color, one forward from the tips. There you go. And the rest, they play the white tees, middle tees, whatever the hell you want to call them. The B flight on down. For weeks, they've been saying champ flights the tips, A flights the blues, because it goes black, blues, whites, yellows, reds at my course, right? So, and then B flight white and down whites. All right, cool. So I've been prepping my game from the blues. I was like, it'd be great to play with the Friday game because they play the tips all the time on the Friday game. So I said, let's play the tips. Kind of give myself when I move one forward up, I'm like, this is like a chip and putt. turns out like the day of, they're like, nah, the championship flight's playing the black tees, but it's technically a black blue combo, and everybody else playing from the whites. I just looked at them. I was like, you guys are assholes. I was
What
like,
a weird way to set that up, because I always feel like, and I've seen this happen in the past too at different courses, where for some reason even the championship flight, they don't play it all the way back, and I'm like, that's the whole point of a club championship, is to tip it out as far as it can go and make it tough. Let the rough grow for a couple days in advance, really get the greens going, and let the best player play it from all the way back, the farthest, longest test possible. So
Yeah.
I never get why people start mixing stuff for championship.
I don't get it. It blows my mind. I'd love to hear those who run the operations explain to me why. Now, I know a lot of some of these guys usually that are in these flights, so you can always opt into a higher flight of your choice. So I know a lot of the Blue Girl guys have higher handicaps, which they would actually fall in lower flights, but they say, screw it. They want to play with their friends, that a lot of their friends are better handicaps, so they play in the championship flight because those are the guys they know. And they kind of do it based off of participants and handicap indexes. So, I can see maybe them doing like a black tee, blue tee combo for the champ flight, and even like the A flight doing maybe a blue white combo, and then everybody. But I mean, these guys know how to play. Like test them. That's the game. That's the name of golf. It's a test, right? You test your ability to move the ball around the course and try and score as low as possible. So that was my only gripe, besides the heat or the humidity. I wouldn't say heat. I would say humidity.
Now who out of that championship flight took home the trophy this year? Did old Andy Kay get to keep his spot, or is he pulling that name off that sticker?
That name is coming right down that off of that little sticker. His name's ripped right off. The guy who actually won, he's pretty much his name's Joe Russo. Shout out to him. Guy can play. He's a hell of a player. Older guy, hell of a player around the area for like the South Jersey area. He's always played and competed. He went 2 over through the weekend, 73-73. So I mean, give credit where you got to give credit where credit is due. So
absolutely,
he crushed it. It was funny because the first day, Andy had 2 back-to-back doubles, and so did I. And we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, after I screwed up, I threw in the towel. So I get to the 5th hole, put it in the drink, par 3, double, get to the next hole. Kind of basically, I tried to pull iron because I wasn't the way the tees are. You can hit like a driving iron or like hybrid or whatever to where, the 6th hole, there's just 2 stupid bunkers up there. It's like a little uphill par 4, and it's like those bunkers just get in the way. So I was like, let me just put it to the widest part of the fairway or just short of those bunkers. So I tried to take like a 3-iron off the tee and just get it up there because I'll still have, and I think where the pin was, it was actually front. So it'd still give me maybe like 150, 160 out, which is fine. So I shanked the 3-iron off the tee, don't know what happened, and then ended up doubling that. Dude, I was so pissed. I threw in the towel that day, or like for the weekend. I said, I'm out, screw it. So I go, I make the turn. All right. So I'm trying to grind back. I end up birding the 9th hole. I go to the snack shack. I was like, give me a double shot transfusion. I drank that before I teed off 10, made birdie on 10, made two birdies again throughout the hole, or throughout the back 9, proceeded to bogey the following hole after that, and then bogey the 18th hole for 1 over.
So that transfusion was the magic elixir, man. The
I guess. Well, I had another one as like the cart chick was coming, the beverage cart was coming around.
Boy, I tell you what, we'll get into it a little bit later then, but the transfusions were flowing with the Barstool boys as well when we were up in Atlantic City. And
oh man,
unfortunately, it wasn't a swing elixir for me. Yeah, man. So now it's cool to hear that was kind of the remedy for you on that first round.
Yeah. And then when I came in, I shot 79 after that. went 42-37. I was like, find out I'm only 3 shots back. I'm like, holy smokes, I'm in this. 6 holes in, I threw in the towel. I said, screw it. Come back around at the end of the day. I'm, 3 shots back. So I'm going in, get paired like the next day. We teed off at 11:10. And both days before everybody teed off, it downpoured for like 30 minutes. So the humidity just kicked up even more.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to fight the heat. I'm trying to fight the humidity. I'm going out there trying to grind because I know I actually have a chance. At first, I thought I was out of it. So I ended up shooting – I shot 80. Again, I had 2 doubles, one on the front, one on the back, and I just couldn't make a birdie putt. And
there's something to be said, man, about like on that first day when you came in and thought you were just completely out of it, and like to be right in the mix. There's always an amazing feeling in golf, and I'm sure other sports too, where you just feel like you couldn't have played worse, and then yet here you are sitting at it on like day 2 with a shot to win it. I always love that because that's what's so special about golf is like most tournaments are foursomes, sometimes threesomes, you know, they'll send off threesomes, but you know, you just don't know. And especially these little tournaments, you know, like the club championships and stuff, there's no like leaderboards out on the course or everything. So you just don't know. So like, it's such a shot in the dark. Like you can feel like you're absolutely blowing up. And then all of a sudden you're sitting 3rd place, like with a chance to win it the next day. That's what's so cool about golf.
But I also like I know a lot of tournaments where you go to like state stuff and whatnot. They ask like one person to designate and put up a live leaderboard and put the scores in so everybody kind of figure out where they're at. Nah, I like the old school method, pen and paper, and you find out at the end of the round. You hang out. That's another thing you know, everybody, you know, with COVID, everybody's like socially distancing and whatnot. But we had this like outdoor area around where the scores were being posted, and it's by the snack shack and whatnot. So we were all just hanging out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the main part of it. It's for the camaraderie, and you get to play with different members that you don't normally play with, and you're competing against each other, and then you meet new people. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So you're out there, you're talking about your round, you're going through like your shots, you're having shots, you're drinking beers, you're eating food, like you name it, you're having fun. Like that's the whole
100%.
Right?
That's the best part about those club championships, or really any club tournament for that matter. It's just if you get a good like interaction between the membership, you get a lot of people out for these events and to play. And like you just said, not only just to play, but there's probably half the guys that never had a chance in the first place, but just wanted to get some like good tournament golf atmosphere and hang out with the guys after the round. And have the beers, have the cigars. Mostly a lot of those club championships, you know, guys are just ripping through cigars after rounds. And it's just kind of that like that awesome mentality of like, hey, we're playing tournament golf at our course. Like this is our course. This is our membership. And you know what? We're having a damn good time with it.
Yeah. And then the other thing is like you're waiting for people to come in and see, what'd you shoot? And then like, you're sitting there.
Yeah.
What's the score? Where do I stand? And then you come and find out that you're actually only a couple of shots back. That gets you back in. And you're like, yeah, I'm pumped. You get that momentum going like off the course, and you can't wait to go home, get some rest up, come back and do it again and actually try and compete. Because sometimes guys just don't even show up for the second day if they're completely out of it, or they show up, but they just go through the motions just to get it over with. But when you come in and you get that, you know, that surprise that, hey, you're actually in it, kind of totally changes the momentum for you to where you're like, wow, I'm legit going to go out tomorrow. I got a shot and I'm going to grind this one out. And that's what it made so much fun, because I played much better just like overall. Granted, I had a couple I had 2 doubles on each side and then 2 random, basically 2 bogeys throughout on each side. So I had 3 holes that were over par. The rest were pars. So I was there. I was just missing birdie putts. Like I had opportunities. You take those 4 doubles, just those 4 doubles. If I was able to like somehow make par out of that, I would have won. Would have won by 1 shot. But you know, I mean, you can't go back and really dwell on it. But you just think like that's what golf is. It's those little.
That's why golf is so tantalizing, because every round, even if you win, you can go back and say, well, I won and I could have won by 5 instead of 2, you know, like you go back and it's just, that's what's so amazing about this game and just keeps so many people coming back for more, is it's impossible to be perfect. Like, even if you hit like all great shots throughout the day and hit all 18 greens in regulation, there's some out there that you're like, well, like, even though I hit the green, I should have been 5 feet, not 20 feet, or I should have been, this close, not that close. And it's just, there's always ways to go back and pick apart a golf round. And that's what's so maddening about it. But that's what's so great about it too, is there's always room for improvement somewhere, somehow.
Yeah. And then probably my favorite part of it was I decided, because at first I didn't know what tees we were playing. Said A-Flight. I called the shop. I said, give me all the emails to the A-Flight guys. Sent an email. Anybody interested in a skins game Saturday and Sunday, $10 each day. One person, everybody but one person said they were in. Then come to find out that we were playing the same tees as the B flight and the rest of the, the C and D flights, everybody all the way down. I offered it to the B flight, and everybody in the B flight got into it. So I kept it A, B only because our handicaps are relatively close.
Right.
C, D, it probably based on handicaps and how they played, it probably would have been, those guys are shooting 85 plus, right? So if they get lucky to get a birdie, I didn't feel like it was fair for like a C and a D player to go up against an A player, based on like your handicap. I did not felt that. So I kept it A, B, and everybody was in it, dude. Money was flowing. It was insane. 5 skins went out. There was probably 50 people, I think, got in it roughly. No, that's a lie.
That's a lot.
Like 30 people.
What were those skins going for at the end of the day?
All right, so it was 260 the first day, 280 the Sunday overall.
For each
total,
skin.
Total pot money.
Okay.
5 skins won Saturday, so they took $52 a piece. 3 skins held Sunday. Those guys took
out of
90
both flights.
Out of both flights.
Wow.
There were so many birdies. I wish I had the card. It was insane. I think 5 or 6 holes did not have a birdie on it. So 2/3 of the course had a birdie. One guy had an eagle.
It's just like we're throwing it back to Janela's skins match, man. Play for birdie or pick up.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a cool thing too. That's another aspect of bringing the community together and of your membership and the camaraderie is you're also giving the guys who are completely out of it a shot to win something. So they can still go out the next day like, you know what, I may not win the title of flight champion, but I can go out and make some money because I'm going to show up and I'm going to play and I'm going to try. I'm going to give it everything I had. And if I have a bad hole, whatever, I'll X on the day and I'll just go for birdies.
I love that. Yeah. There's something to be said about that too. It's like, I wonder if we played like that all the time, what our scores would be if we were just trying to run in birdies. Like, would it help us or would it get us in trouble more times than not?
To be honest, I probably wouldn't be posting scores because I'd have too many X's on the card and I'd just be going for birdies. But yeah, I would be way more aggressive. I'd be pulling more drivers off the tee than on holes that I wouldn't. And I would just be flag hunting like crazy. So maybe in the long run, it might help your game because when you have to take that aggressive shot, you're going to be very comfortable with it. Because a lot of people, all right, so you put yourself on a par 3 where the pin is tucked or it's way up front or it's right next to water. In a tournament round where the final score counts, you're most likely, and if you're not comfortable and you don't really have much room to play with on the par 3, what are you going to do? You're going to aim for the middle of the green, 2-putt your par and get the hell out of there. And when there is a birdie hole opportunity based on pin location, then you'll attack it. So if you're saying, hey, you're coming down in a match play or something and you're in a playoff or something where, you need to be more aggressive, that confidence and just being more comfortable with it, you're going to pull that shot off.
Oh, 100%. And it's just cool to see, like, to sometimes even play those games between yourself on just like not a tournament round too. And just like
Hmm.
say, you know what, it doesn't mean anything right now. So let's try and like push the limits of what my game has to, maybe produce. And sometimes you learn stuff that way of yourself and of your own game to be like, oh, well, crap, I'm gonna put that play in the bag. Like I can carry it so far,
Yeah.
or I can cut this corner. And all right, let's remember that for a little way down the road.
Yeah, I agree. Or instead of if you're on a par five, instead of taking an hour or an iron out and laying up, but you can kind of go for it, you're gonna go for it the next time.
It's
So
really funny you say that because there's just one hole on Glen Riddle that I've always just hit iron on because everyone told me like, oh, it's not a smart play to hit driver because it really pinches and then this like little creek goes across and then so like but it opens up like way out there. But I always thought it was so far out there. But in my last match, I was already like 5 up at that point. So I was like, I saw one other guy hit driver one time and it just seemed like it didn't like he didn't hit it as far as I did and he played it well. So I was like, I'm going to give it a go. I'm 5 up. I got nothing to lose here. And so I hit driver and it completely changed the way because I missed it and I still carried. Like I still hit the carry. And I'm like,
mhm.
well, man, if I miss it and can make that shot, imagine what I do when I hit it. So it's like little things like that where sometimes you just got to test it. You got to go for it. And in times that it doesn't count when when the tournament's not on the line or something like that.
And honestly, I think a lot of the problems people don't necessarily feel comfortable or confident that they want to take that shot
Mm-hmm.
is because most of the time everybody's working, their jobs Monday through Friday. So they're not necessarily out there playing. And then they go and they play weekend matches or they play weekend games to where it counts.
Oh, for
So they
sure.
take a more conservative thing. So I feel more people need to go out there and, just take that round, throw the scorecard away and just take a couple practice shots out there and do things that you normally wouldn't do. I feel that will make you such a better golfer down the road. Uh, I honestly believe that. So anyone out there, I know the money weekend games are fun, but maybe to get that nice afternoon round, chill during the day, go out, play, bring a couple balls, and try a couple shots.
100%. And that's what it's just more fun that way, man. Just try it and take a small bucket of balls with you, put it in your bag and try it a couple times. Try it till you pull it off just for the fun
Yeah.
of it,
Until
Why
you
not?
start, until you make like 5 or 6 pars in a row, and then you start writing your score. Then you go after 9, you go grab a scorecard, and you're like, all right, what did I get on the first 2 holes? And then now you're like grinding out to see what you can score.
Ah,
Done that plenty of times, but
there's a give or take with how serious you take it too.
I know.
Sometimes you just got to drop the scorecard down and say to hell with it. And I'll play for the fun of it, just for the fun of hitting shots.
I agree. I agree. But
Hell
all in
yeah.
all, club championship weekend, it's a good weekend besides the humidity and the rain for a little bit.
Boy, I tell you what, between you and Andy K, it makes it tough to defend. It makes
Yeah.
makes you realize how these guys on tour go out and defend, and how Brooksy did it for the U.S. Open and the PGA. Like how crazy defending that is. Like let alone a club championship. Like it's a pretty impressive stuff. Anytime anyone can defend from one year to the next.
It's hard to do. Even on your your membership, you got people saying, "Oh, you gotta defend your title." It puts some pressure on you. A little extra nerves.
100%.
It's
You
it's
gotta love
tough.
it.
It is tough to do. Those guys who can go out and do it, more power to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's speaking of guys who are looking to repeat, the Barstool Classic boys looking to go back to back, first one and then second one, and they're in our qualifier again. Now, we've talked about it. They have kind of a free pass as long as they don't finish dead last in the local qualifier out to Pinehurst this year. But we got out with them boys. I took Steve and myself up to Atlantic City. We played Atlantic City Country Club on a just absolute gorgeous day. The transfusions were flowing early. The first time we saw the cart girl, it was 4 double transfusions on the rocks, ready to roll in classic. I feel like in typical Barstool fashion, with their advocation for the transfusions lately. But it was fun out there, man. Atlantic City, I didn't realize has so much history behind it. Like that
Yeah.
course is one of the kind of when United States Golf was first like making the turn of the century, and you had like the John McDermott, who was the head pro there. He won the U.S. Open at 19 and then won it again at 20. He's got like 7 aces on that course, just that course alone. They had women's U.S. Opens there. They had like U.S. amateurs there. They had all like the most historic events at Atlantic City Country Club through the years.
That's insane. And that's what I like about these types of courses is the history. Like when you think of like Augusta and, Pebble Beach and even so much like older, like Marion, just the people that walked the same grounds. If you ever get the chance to go on those courses, I know you got on Pebble, but like when you step on those types of courses that have, like I played a course, Berkshire Country Club, right? Not too long ago in a tournament.
Sure.
On the card and on their on the tee markers, 1899 the course was built.
I love that.
1899. So that's kind of cool. And like one of the members that was there, he said he's been there. He's an older gentleman. He's there for 57. He's been a member since 1957.
Wow.
It's insane.
Well, that's the way Atlantic City Country Club was built in 1897. Since then, it's just been – it was crazy to walk through it, man, because you walk through the front door, and the pro shop's not, like, right in the parking lot. You walk through the front door, and you have to go through the men's locker room to get to the men's or women's locker room to get to Atlantic City Country Club's, like, pro shop.
Okay.
And when you open the door into this men's room, into this locker room, it screams 1897. Everything like is still almost original. There's like an old pool table, the old leather seats. There's a shoe cleaning room, like it screams vintage. It screams old and it screams historic. They've got all kinds of like pictures hanging up there of Bobby Jones, of, like I said, John McDermott. It's so cool, man, to see courses like that. And when you do get the opportunity to play something with that much history that's been around for that long, to kind of just like take a minute, like Steve and I walked around, just kind of looked at all of the locker rooms, just, took it all in because it was really cool. Now, I think a lot of people might know this, a lot of people might not, but there's a rock out there sitting on by the pro shop that says this was the place that the term birdie was coined. Like they started the word birdie.
Really?
In 1903. So
interesting.
I'm not a skeptic, but I'm a skeptic that they're just claiming we started the term birdie.
Yeah.
Like maybe. Okay. But I feel like, and maybe it is, and it's just maybe everyone's accepted it. I don't know. But I feel like the term birdie, wow, Atlantic City Country Club, all right, guys, I'll give it to you. I feel like it had to have been somewhere else, but maybe not. And if so, how cool was that? That, the term birdie was also originated out of Atlantic City Country Club too.
That's insane. But another part of it, I need to get down there, even though I'm like 45 minutes away. I haven't been down there yet. How was the course?
The course, man, was impressive. It's from all the way back. It makes you hit golf shots. It makes you hit golf shots off the tee. It makes you hit golf shots into the greens because the greens are undulated and sometimes pretty large too. So you got to be in the right spots of the greens. It's going to be a good test for the Barstool Classic, man. It's going to show the true players are going to get through. There's going to be no, I don't think discrepancies as far as, people are going to struggle if they can't hit it off the tee well. And not even that, like you have to know, you can't just like bomb it down the fairway either. There's precise, like there's bunkers that make you hit irons off tees or think about hitting a driver. There's a lot of position play. It's not a long course. I think it's only like 6,700 yards, but boy, it's a par 70 too. And so there's only one par 5 each side. And it's a great course, man. I love playing it. Greens were in phenomenal shape. Like I said, we got it on a good day where the wind wasn't that bad. But I could see it's one of those courses that the back nine goes out onto the, kind of marsh area there. You can see the whole skyline of Atlantic City basically the entire time you're playing, which is really, really cool as well. But it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited for it. You got to get out there and at least see it one time before our true test with the
know.
qualifier, but you're going to
I know.
enjoy it. And I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
I think that's what hurt us is the fact that we never played Philmont last year. And we just really weren't on our A game that day.
Yeah.
And we really weren't that far off.
No, and I
So-
tell you, like, it's funny because I went into it obviously blind. It was the first time I'd ever played it when we played last week. But let me just tell you, I lost probably like 4 or 5 strokes just not knowing the course. And I think that's typical. I feel like, you know, when you go into a course, especially a course as challenged as Atlantic City, you gotta know at least some tee shots, and you gotta know where to place some things. But I'll tell you one guy who didn't struggle, and it's kind of no surprise, but Rocco and Hoffy, those boys put on a clinic, and I'm putting this out here right now as a public service announcement. They are looking to defend, and they plan on defending. So, you know, public service announcement for all Barstool Classic participants. If you get through your local qualifier, watch out. These boys are going to bring it down to Pinehurst.
Yeah. I mean, they're constantly playing, man. He's always posting some type of swing video, and he's just ripping it down the fairway. So we got to get to the range, get some work in. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I want to get that. I want to get out there so bad. It's just it's been difficult a little bit lately. Plus, you know, when you have a membership too, it's tough playing expensive courses. It's like, do I really want to throw money down to play a course that I already pay for? So, but no, I'll make sure I get out there. Hopefully I can play, get a feel for the course, see where I need to play shots and all that. So that's awesome, man. Excited for you. Excited for what we got coming on down the road. That's that's a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And we're going to be sporting our Tyler's golf bags out there. Like we said,
can't wait for them.
You know, beginning of the show here, we have one of them up for auction. So if you guys want a custom, it's going to be navy blue and white. We posted a picture of it a few weeks ago, and we'll post another one with this episode. Navy blue and white with the kind of classic looking brown leather. It's going to be a good bag. I'm excited. Tyler's golf bags is kind of just, I feel like boomed since we had them on the podcast. They've done bags now for Owens Mixers and Barstool for their transfusion release. It seems like they're all across the country already, and it's exciting.
Butsy has one.
Yeah, it's exciting to see him growing so freaking fast, and we're just happy to be a part of it and support his mission of making the ultimate Sunday carry bag.
Yeah, can't wait to throw that on my shoulder. My stand bag's a little too bulky for my liking, so. And you can fit all 14 clubs, so I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I'm just I'm pumped to see it and pumped to have it in my hands and get it out there and sport it around at the Barstool Classic where we will be walking. They said it's walking's encouraged, and that's one of the other things I wanted to put out there too. The Atlantic City Country Club might be the perfect walkers course. It's flatter than flat. I mean, little hill here, little hill there, slight undulation on like one or two of the holes as like an uphill or downhill shot. But other than that, really flat, great course to walk. Everything's right next to each other, old style course. So tee boxes are right beside the greens. There's no like 85-minute walk to the next tee or anything like that. So yeah, man, I'm excited. It's going to be a good, lot of good stuff coming up here next couple of weeks with golf. Not only Barstool Classic for us, I have the Ocean City member guest coming up next weekend. I'm pumped for that. We're going to be – Travis Matthews is going to be there live with their tailgate truck on Thursday night. Little tailgate party on Thursday. And then the real business begins, 4 matches a day. So 36 a day, Saturday or Friday and Saturday. And then at the end of the day, Saturday is the ultimate. If you win your flight, you get put in the championship. So I think there's 5 flights. And then it's 5 groups all in one hole, alternate shot to win it all. We missed out on it by a half a stroke last year.
I'm on the wait list. Paul, our buddy Paul from Marywood, he's up at Glenmara. We're on the wait list for his, and that's actually that Friday, Saturday, Sunday before the Barstool Classic. So that's going to be, if we get into that, I'm going to have 4 grueling days of golf. But that's the same thing. You play – actually, I think the format's different this year because he told me. It's actually it's better ball. Friday. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we get in. But I think we're going to make like a nice little weekend out of that. Who's your partner for yours?
My partner's Colin McComber, so we played in it last year together, and
Nice.
he invited me again this year. So really, really freaking pumped to play this year. Like I said, we missed by half a stroke, and I think it's because we had one too many orange crushes on the back nine of our last match. So
That's
it's a shame that they're flowing early and often down in Ocean City. But I think we might have to play it a little smarter, drink less, win more money. But I'm excited, man. It should be a good time. And as always, member guests are just a blast. So
absolutely. Sucks COVID ruined ours, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So you're supposed to come up for that one. So
hey, we'll see what
we'll get
happens.
it.
And yeah, we'll
get it.
We'll make the best of it, you know?
Hell yeah.
So
Hell
pump,
yeah.
man, and excited to see the next few weeks have in store. It's a lot of good golf. A lot of good golf.
A lot of grinds. Some grinding rounds coming up. I can't wait. Those are the best.
You're gonna have to use that. You're gonna have to use that Colby Wallace mentality to get through the next couple weeks here.
Clear the mind. That's the name of the game.
Awesome.
Somehow.
Well, guys, as always, you guys know where to follow us at Enjoy the Walk Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Interact with us, chop it up. Let us know how you're liking the episodes. Comment on our posts, and just see, what we want to know what you guys are thinking of the interviews we've been doing lately and the interviews that you'd like to see, down the line. So shoot us a DM or just, like I said, interact with us. Let us know who you want to see on the pod next. And as always, guys, you can go to www.enjoythewalkpod.com for all of our latest merch releases, hats, golf tees, anything of the such. Dante's rocking that sandbagger hat, and I'm walking the game of life, the game of golf hat right now. So, guys, check that out on our YouTube page as well. Enjoy the Walk podcast on YouTube. You can see all of the people that you listen to every week. You can put a face to the voice and, watch us chop it up in real life on these Zoom calls. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, get out there, carry your clubs, enjoy the walk.